Welcome to episode 412 of Salcedo Paranormal, and tonight I will be talking about the Stanley Hotel. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page, and that is salcedoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from you all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions, or stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. And thank you all for listening. As always, whether you are here for the live streams on Discord or you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds, or if you listen on the Troubled Minds radio network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, there you can hear 2 episodes of the show, replays of the show, every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And I also want to thank Michael Strange of Troubled Minds Radio and Liam Martin, also known as Rohan, of the Exiled Minds podcast, for producing and posting the shows, all the shows to the station, and adding the music at the beginning and end of every show. So, really appreciate that because that is currently not in my skill set. So, there are different ways to support the show if you would like. You can always, share the show, also rate and review the show on your podcast platform of choice. Also, I have written some paranormal fiction and nonfiction books that you can find on Amazon that you can buy there if you'd like to support me that way. Also, there are direct links to support the show through PayPal and Venmo and then Patreon if you'd like to do that instead. Just send basically money through those links. So, and all those links can always be found in every episode description and on Discord. I think that takes care of everything. So this is part of my series on famous or well-known places that are said to have a lot of paranormal activity. And so that's why I am talking about the Stanley Hotel tonight. I've put some links in the show notes and sources channel in Discord to articles about the Stanley Hotel and the location and all about it. So you all can check those out if you're in the Discord. I recommend joining the Discord always because that's where you can hear the shows live as they're being recorded. And I will also include those links in the episode description as well. So yeah, I've first heard about this place, of course, I'm sure as many people probably have, through paranormal reality shows on TV. But there's more to it than just what they put on those shows, obviously. And so yeah, I'm just going to get into that tonight here. And I have 2 articles out of the ones that I found that I'm going to focus on for the most part. The first one is from, let's see here, thetravel.com. And the title of this one says, "This is the story behind the famed Stanley Hotel and why it's worth spending the night." So here it mentions the connection to the, of course, Stephen King's horror novel, The Shining, and then also the more of the history and actual reports of paranormal activity at the site. So, let's see here. This is, so this hotel, let me find the beginning of when it was, okay, there we go. So it was, the hotel was built in the early 1900s in Estes Park, which is scenic but also remote part of Colorado, that shows off the Rocky Mountains, and apparently it when you're in the hotel, you can see all around the mountains in the area. So let's see here. There have been different figures throughout history that have come to the area because of basically how beautiful it is. Famous people, presidents, survivor of the Titanic, but and then of course it mentions Stephen King again. So the owner and the person that had the place constructed is let me see here, Freeland O. Stanley of the Stanley Steamer Company, and he basically had it made there because he was ill. He had tuberculosis, I believe it was. Yeah, and he was so he was not doing well, and he visited the area. And after just one summer of staying in that area, even before the hotel was made, he started to recover. And so he and his wife decided they wanted to visit the location every year. And that's how they came up with the idea for the hotel, because they were used to similar hotels back on, I believe, the East Coast. And so they wanted to bring that out to that area, that kind of experience out to that area. So, and of course, eventually they both, the couple, as they got older, they eventually passed. And people that have visited the place claim to have seen the spirits of those original owners of Mr. and Mrs. Stanley, basically. And let's see here. Freeland has been spotted apparently in the billiards room and in the lobby, while Flora, the wife, is said to have played the piano, even though when people look into the room, they don't see anyone. And the piano keys move on their own, and many think that this is Flora because she had a love for the playing the piano. So, let me see here. Of course, the building is beautiful. If you look at all these different articles, they have pictures of the place, and it's very. I'm not good at describing architecture, but it is really looks amazing. I would love to visit there someday. And it does. It's a really well-known hotel, basically luxury hotel, and then of course it's known for the hauntings there. So it says that there's different history tours, also paranormal tours. There's rock climbing, so it's really like a nature preserve outside of around the area as well. They also have they have a theater, which is also said to be haunted. So, and they have a few different buildings there. They have the main building, the Stanley. And then they have the lodge, which is modern hotel accommodations. And then the residences, which they have, I'm guessing they're more like cottages or apartment-like accommodations, apparently. So, let me see here. So yeah, that's that first article here. Just talking a little bit about the history of the place and the original owners, which are said to be there still, or be seen there still, and heard. So, moving on to this other article here. This one says, it's from, TripSavvy.com. And it says the 7 most haunted spots in the Stanley Hotel. So, this goes over some of these locations here. This is not too far apparently from Denver. It's been featured on different shows, paranormal shows, and also has had, I'm not sure if it still does or not, but has had paranormal investigators actually run the tours, which is really amazing. That'd be quite the job to have. And let's see here. So they're talking in this article about the different locations, and they mentioned that a lot of the things that people mentioned there is that if you're going to do any investigating there, you should always bring a lot of backup batteries, because the devices that you may want to use, they will be drained quickly, which is fairly common in investigations and really active sites from what I've heard. Apparently people have also seen and captured orbs as well, so really neat thing. Again, I always wonder, I think there's so many different possibilities as to what orbs could be, so who knows what's going on there. So the first location they mention here is room 217. This is where Stephen King stayed. So he basically had a nightmare while he was there about his son being chased by a sort of a snake-like creature made up of a fire hose, and that's a big part of where he got his inspiration for The Shining. One of the parts. So, and there's other aspects of that as well. When Stephen King and his wife got there, they were their kids are being taken care of by family, and they were having a weekend kind of away on their own. And when they got there, they arrived on the last day of what was at the time the hotel's main operating season. They were a seasonal hotel for many years before they started running all year round. And for those that don't know the book, I don't know the movie so well, but the book, it's all about this family, this husband that is hired to stay at the hotel with his family to basically take care of it during the off season. And so there's no one else there. And Stephen King and his wife actually experienced some of that feeling of what it's like to be in a hotel when there's next to nobody else there for that one night. And so again, you have all these different aspects that sort of you could see how they inspired the book, and then the movies, of course. So the room is also associated with Mrs. Wilson, or Elizabeth Wilson. She was the hotel's head housekeeper, and there was a storm in 1911, and it caused an explosion due to some of the gas lanterns, and she survived, but she was severely injured. But she did survive, and she actually stayed there at the hotel. Excuse me. Until she passed, and it's said that she is still seen and felt there, to the point where people attribute items being moved, luggage unpacked, and lights being turned on and off. They mention that, or they think that this is her. Also, apparently, when there are unmarried guests that stay there together, some couples have reported feeling a cold force come between them, and this is supposedly due to the Mrs. Williams, I think it was Williams, Elizabeth's upbringing, basically at the time, that was not basically socially accepted by a lot of people, including her. So that's a report there. And let's see here. So it's apparently the room is still, it is rented out, so you can check that out as well. The next location, they mentioned that the staircase between floors in the hotel's main guest house is said to also be the source of basically a natural spiral of energy known as the vortex, which is thought to be sort of this rapid transit system, it says in the article here, for spirits that are known to be moving through the hotel. And that's an amazing concept. I wonder how many, you hear that a lot, I think. So many locations, figures are seen or felt on stairs. And so I wonder, that may be something to look into for a show at some point. Just this idea of, especially spiral staircases. I wonder if there's anything to that. It's sort of, in a way, I could see that why people would think maybe that's the case. But anyway, there's a quick little section there. They don't go into details on that. So the next location they talk about is the concert hall. Now this is a concert hall / theater, and anyone who's looked into the paranormal knows so many theaters are said to be haunted, to have activity there going on a lot. So one of the most commonly, let me see here, there is this handyman, basically, who is said to still be there at the concert hall. And so let's see here. He apparently wants everybody out of there by around 11. People will even hear someone saying, get out at around that time. So let's see here. Apparently that's about all they say about that. But they also, that is also where, or one of the places anyway, where Flora Stanley is said to play the piano. It goes back to talking about this other apparition of Paul. Apparently a construction worker said he felt like he was nudged, and while he was sanding the floors, and also tour groups have said that Paul likes or will use flashlights to communicate as well. I always wonder, do people, are there sightings that these articles just don't bring up all the time? Because you hear that people attribute things to a person without seeing them or having any other major communication. I wonder if it's more of a sensing it kind of a thing. It's not that I doubt that that's possible. It's something I've noticed in a lot of articles that talk about places where, I don't know, maybe it's just the way some things are written. But there's another ghost that's said to wander the concert hall is Lucy, named Lucy. There's not a ton known about her except that she was possibly a homeless woman who would use the hall, would stay in the hall at times. She apparently does like to communicate with them with flashing lights. So, but yeah, there's no exact history regarding her, so hard to say. Even though the room that Stephen King stayed in is really popular, apparently the 4th floor in the main building is where a lot of other activity takes place. So let's see here. And let me get back to this. Okay. So when the hotel first opened, the 4th floor was mainly used for the female employees and children and nannies. That's where all those people that fit those sort of categories anyway stayed there. And now guests will report hearing children running around, laughing and playing. And there's also a famous closet in there, in that floor, in that room, where the door is said to open and shut on its own in that room. So, let's see here. The one of the most active areas is room 428. Guests there have reported hearing footsteps above them and furniture moving around. But that's impossible because of the slope of the roof above that area. So there's also a apparition of a cowboy who's said to be there as well. Another place that is fairly well known is the Grand Staircase. There's pictures along it and all different architectural details. But there's apparently there's been a apparition there, even appearing in pictures of a woman at the top of the stairs. So, now this I hadn't heard of. Apparently there are underground caves on the property. And people there report that, let's see here, they just get an eerie feeling as they move through the tunnel, and apparently that's where a lot of workers would move through the hotel using these caves. And so this is also where there's said to be activity there as well in general. So a lot of active places, it sounds like. And yeah, so that's basically those two articles. Again, I have others that I'll include for you all to check out. But I really love to visit this place someday and see if I sort of what I'm able to pick up just based on how I feel. I think so often you hear about these places and there's not a lot there, but then they're still reported so often, and I wonder if that's just because maybe some people just they get senses of energy and or people, whether they're in other times or they are spirits just moving around there. Wouldn't surprise me at all, especially in those caves are known to be have limestone in them, and the hotel is right on top of it, so a lot of possibilities there. And again, this is one of those locations where, yes, it's been featured on TV shows, but you can look around online and find all kinds of stories. Every once in a while, I'll find one and share it on the show from locations like this and the Queen Mary and other places. So I think there's something to that. And that's why I wanted to talk about that location in this show. Thank you all for listening, and I'll be back tomorrow night with true paranormal stories from the web on the next episode of Salcedo Paranormal. Take care.